Good morning, everybody. I wanted to talk to you about your second writing assignment, and this second writing assignment is your second letter, and it's your last letter, as a matter of fact. That's a good thing. So, with this case study, it is a case study. You're not making up your own donation refusal. You're actually going to follow this case study and write a letter as if you were the public relations director for Datatron. So when you sign your name at the bottom of your paper, you'll write director, comma, public relations, comma, Datatron. Okay? Your letterhead for your company is going to be Datatron Inc., and this is your address and zip code. This is your telephone number. This is your fax, and this is your company's website. You're going to be writing to Ms. Anna J. Hadley. She's the President, Board of Directors, Samaritan Retirement Community, and this is the address for her company. So Ms. Hadley has requested Datatron to make a $500 contribution to the retirement community. So your company has given to the fund drives in the past, but this year her request was received after or on the 1st day of September. And your actual fiscal year begins on July 1. So honestly, she should have gotten her request into you guys by April of this year. So you can pretend like you're writing a letter in the future. So you could date your letter, if you would like to, September 3rd, 2019. And then you can tell her she needs to submit her next request by April 2020 if she wants to be considered in the 2021 contribution budget. Okay. So you're going to have to write an indirect message. You're going to use the indirect strategy, or your textbook calls it the negative strategy of negative message. The whole purpose is to tell somebody no without saying no, and to maintain goodwill. So you're going to have to provide necessary details to complete the message. So you've got the gist of what you need to do, but you need to go in and provide her with a nice buffer. Remember, and read all of my examples. The very first paragraph is always the buffer paragraph. You're going to have 1 to 2 body paragraphs, primarily 2 body paragraphs, but in this particular letter, it may work fine for you if you write with just 1 body paragraph, and you include the implication of no, the reasons for no, or vice versa, the reasons for no, the implication of no, and the alternative solution. You may want to do that all in 1 paragraph. That's fine if you want to do that. And then you'll have a conclusion. And remember, with the conclusion, you don't make any reference to the bad news. You've already made your given your reasons. You've implied no, and you've provided an alternate solution to her. There's no reason for you to ever mention the bad news again. You want to end that letter with a forward-looking, statement that you're looking forward, perhaps, to receiving her request next year by April 15th. And then provide her with your office extension and your direct email, like this, your work email. You wouldn't put your Gmail account or your WGTC account. You would make up one. So you would say, like, for example, john.thomas@. It'll be your name, not John Thomas, your name. If you want to pretend like your secretary typed this letter, you will double space below your title, and you will type in lowercase your secretary's initials. This is the same as last time. Half of your grade comes from your content organization, format, and half comes from grammar mechanics. And so the grammar and mechanical correctness, you guys know We just got finished taking grammar and mechanics. Obviously, I'm going to grade on that. And then on the content and the organization, I'm just telling you, remember that you're trying to, in this letter specifically, you're focusing on your recipient. So you need to actually use the you attitude. Therefore, you want to replace I and we with you and your. If you don't want to say I anything, it's all about you. You don't want to say we anything, it's all about you. Okay? All about the recipient, the you or the your. Okay? You want to avoid negative language. So anything negative, threatening, judgmental, anything like that. For example, you would not want to write, you forgot to send your donation request in by April 15th of this year. No, that's accusatory. This is where you want to use passive voice. Your request was received on the first day of September or September 1, however you want to write that. So when you use those negative languages, the you and your language, the I and we language, that's 5 points per. And then all the little flabby, trite, redundant expressions like we learned about in chapters 2 through 4, those are worth 3 points each. So keep all of that information in mind. Write your letter and then go back and edit your letter. Failing to include an actual paragraph that you need is, of course, going to be 20 points for a missing paragraph. Failure to include required content in the required paragraphs are 10 points per instance. So read that chapter carefully. Read the notes. Read my sample letters so you understand. You guys know about this basic. You're doing a full block format. I'm going to show you something right quick. Here we have a full block. You guys know about this already. Okay, this is just a sample letter. And I believe this one is in your textbook, but it had only 3 paragraphs. And I wanted to put it in 4 paragraphs in case you want to follow that exact, 4-stage indirect or negative approach. And notice, in this particular case, this person's got an enclosure. So you go down below the writer's title, the sender's title, double space, and write the word enclosure, double space, and write the initials. So if you do have the initials of a typist, and that will not be your initials, it'll be the initials of your typist if you want to pretend like you have a secretary, and that's fine. Okay, is that out of the way? Okay, so the pre-submission check, always, use this, check yourself. You want to use a professional letterhead. You do have to have a letterhead for this letter, just like this one that I just showed you. You see, it's got a letterhead. And notice with this letterhead, we've got the name of the company, we've got the address, and then at the bottom of this, you've got the phone, fax, and the web address. And notice the web address does not say http://www. It just starts off with the www. Everybody knows that this is a web address. So don't write the word web or web address, and don't write the HTTP. Everybody knows that that is a web address. I'm going to close that. So this is going to help you. Now, a lot of people use a template. I'm just going to advise you not to use a template unless you know how to work with templates. The real problem with templates are that they are locked and you're not able to format them correctly. Now this one actually looks pretty good up here because you've got a place for your logo, you've got a place for your address, and it is at the the top half-inch mark. So remember, when you have a letterhead, your letterhead starts at the half-inch top margin. You know, when you guys was your first letter, you had to start at the top 1-inch margin. But this is going to be at the top half-inch margin. Everything else is 1 inches. Okay, so we actually can check margins by going into the layout. Oh, I forgot. I'm doing this in my recording. It's not going to let me do that. Shoot. I'll just do it in this document. I think I might be able to. So we'll go to review. We'll go to layout. Yeah, margins. And this has got custom margins because it's got the top half-inch margin, and then the bottom should also be set for 1 inch. Okay. This is fine. This particular template looks pretty good, I think. But what I want you to do is take all of this, and I want you to right-click on it and click Remove Content Control. So, the biggest issue here is, we erase the formatting for that, because this is a template. Every once in a while when you're typing something, you're going to have, you will see that it will bounce. Did you notice that? I pressed the enter key one time and it put it on double space, even though I actually just erased the template, the content control. So I'm going to go into paragraph and look at this. Ugh, 0 before, 0 after, single space. And you see it still is being a booger. So you're going to have to really wrestle with a template. I don't mind if you use it, but again, you'll be graded based on your formatting. So if your template is off and that's what you turn in, then you're going to get a grade that's going to have points deducted. This is what I would suggest that you do. Go ahead and go into a new document and go to your layout, go to margins, and now my last custom setting you just saw was a half-inch top margin and then 1 inch left, bottom, and right. So you can create that margin layout. That's one way, and then you'll start putting your letterhead at the very top right here. Okay, a letterhead should not take it more than 1.5 inches vertical, and you always want to make sure you've got your ruler turned on so you can see down to 1.5 inches. It should not come below this, and really it shouldn't come that low. You know, you don't need that. You don't want to have a big bunch of distraction at the top of your page. Yes, bold the title and make the company name larger, but don't make it 40. That's ridiculous. You don't need to have anything that huge. If we did Datatron Inc., and we select that, and we bold it, and we can put it in, say, Arial Black, which is kind of attention-getting, and we can put it in, say, a 24-point font. And let's see, we could also center it. We're going to go back here. Do you see that jump? That jumped again, even though I just set it for single spacing. Ugh, that's all right. Okay, so we're going to change this font with the address. Let's try a Calibri, perhaps, and a 10-point font. So I'm going to make up an address, or maybe I can pull the address up right here. So if you have this open when you're writing your paper, it's going to be a lot better. You can just copy. I did Control-C, and I did Control-V, and copied it. I like this because it's not taking up a lot of visual space. Then